beats, drums, pickaxe, everything, hi-hats. All these things come from one DNA makeup or another. But you have to understand that you don't get to that without that.
Right.
The blues is what brought it about. So when you got top 100, and the reason why we fell out is because we lost the consistency of the DNA makeup. Somewhere along the way, we fell off. And we never got back on. And every time we try, we find some kind of way to knock that shit down. Don't nobody want to hear that shit, Cherie.
Big facts, big facts, big facts. This is big facts, big facts.
It's your boy Big Mike, too big for 1G. We in the building with my boy BTP, the realest.
In the building. What's going on, Big Mike? What's going on with you?
What's happening with you, bro?
Man, just hey man, just cool and chilling. You know what I'm saying? Another Big Facts podcast. And I mean, really just to talk about some things. You know, a lot of things going on with the hip hop, a lot of things going on with some R&B, all them R&B lovers out there. What's going on with y'all, man? Sunday night slowdown. What was that? Heartbeats?
Man.
What was that?
Nah, man, it was the Heartbeats came later for me. I started off with the Quiet Storm.
Ooh.
Yeah, I started off with the Quiet Storm. It was the Quiet Storm. That was
what station was that?
That was 88, man. That was 88.7. And then like the Quiet Storm also was on 104 The Beat. So, you know, back in the gap. Shout out both of those stations. Shout out 88.7 for delivering good music to the local city of Austin. On top of that, that brings me into straight up good conversation of this tour that's about to go down next year. And it's going to be New Edition featuring Toni Braxton. That's crazy. That's wild as fuck. That's making me feel, first off, aged. I ain't old, motherfucker. I'm just getting better. I feel aged. But it's because like New Edition, first off, like, whoa, that's crazy. Toni Braxton still looking good as ever. God bless her soul. And you got Bobby Brown in New Edition. You got Mr. Bentley, Michael Benz, I think that's his name or something like that. Like, it's a lot of heavy hitters that did a whole lot in the game after New Edition. You know what I'm saying? Like, they evolved into immaculate producers and execs and all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they come back together to put a tour together. Toni Braxton, you know, they had all kinds of different things after so-called quote-unquote retirement of music.
Right.
I don't think you ever really just completely retired from music. That's what they're showing us. Over the time, over the years, think about it. Think about that shit. Like, have you ever seen a successful artist, whether it be R&B or hip-hop, really genuinely just retire and never make music anymore? Or come back?
I hear the comment that hip hop is one of the only genres people age themselves out of when it comes to musicianship and, you know, content creation. Like, there's a age limit per se
on it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like an unwritten code or something like that. You just get too old to be doing hip hop anymore. And the OGs keep showing us that it's not, bro. Like, it's really not. That's crazy. Because
it's not.
A lot of them come back and be better than what we have now.
Exactly. And this New Edition, y'all, and you know they're going to be on tour playing the same music they dropped 30, 40 some years ago.
30 years ago, for sure.
It's going to sound just like how I did. And, you know, it's one of them things where it's like timeless. You know, if it would be something like if a hip hop artist went through and performed, and it was like just one of them songs that they dropped.
You got talks of Slick Rick coming back.
Yeah, Slick Rick talking about he's making a comeback, you know, and then we have like, you know, music dropping from Big L that was unreleased that just came out, a bunch of freestyles and stuff. And, you know, we're seeing a resurgence of, you know, just older forms of hip hop that are kind of coming back around as classics. And I think being performed in a way that's a lot more, not just, I wouldn't say entertaining, but like a true show. And I believe like
Right.
that's what they're truly all going to be a part. I mean, I can only imagine the show that New Edition and Toni Braxton about to put on. And I
Put
mean,
on. And
talking about a 30 city tour that's going to start January 29th in 2026. So y'all get y'all tickets. They probably sold out, sorry. But the last show is in Houston, Texas in the Toyota Center on April 4th, 2026.
in
Texas.
H-Town, it's
They
going
gonna
down.
end that shit in H Town, and you know that shit's man. That's gonna be turned
That's gonna
all the
be
way, all the
crazy.
way. Oh, it's gonna be ridiculous.
All the milfs finna come out. The cougars and the milfs is finna come out. All right, so players, get your best dress together. Try to keep the skinny jeans and the tight pants to a minimum, and come out
man.
very grown. You're gonna leave with something that might change your life. Because this music right here is what brought up a lot of us 80s babies, us, what do they call us now? Millennials. Us.
I mean, it's
us,
music that
us
has
millennials.
been
This music.
very impactful. I mean, even many hip hop samples come from Toni Braxton, New Edition songs. So, you know, just talking about the origins of hip hop and how that really got rolling and the samples and, you know, which is interesting because hip hop always going to show like, hey, I'm fucking with your music. I'm fucking with your sound. I'm going to sample it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to create something out of it to show that love because I'm really digging that, what you did right there. And that's some cool shit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out New Edition.
One of those genres, hip hop came after a time of a transition of music of heads where R&B was R&B, soul music, blues, even some of that quartet type music, like some of the ballads, some of the classical music, some of the things, like you can go back into almost every section in history of music and trace it all the way back up to hip hop. You can damn near do that because how hip hop evolved. You know what I mean? Hip hop ain't nothing but a hip hop ain't never been nothing but a sound.
Yo, so, hey, it's honest, man. It's honest. The synths
real.
and all that really came later, you know, and that came a bit later when the technology got better, and we see a real correlation with that. That got better. EDM, techno, all of that just exploded when computers were able to do more.
Shit, techno pretty much come from what? Disco? You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Think about it, bro. That transition comes from that same type of genre of music. So since it all runs concurrent, these guys have seen plenty of times where they've been in the top of the charts, top of the Billboard charts.
So many times.
New Edition, Toni Braxton, come on. They've seen the top of the charts on a ridiculous amount of times. As a matter of fact, hip hop hasn't not made the top 100 or
the top
R&B.
40.
Let me correct. R&B has never missed the top 40. They've never missed the top 10.
Yeah,
R&B is always around. Let me correct myself. R&B is always around because we all about big facts over here. Yeah. So that Quiet Storm, man, always taught me something because back when we used to listen to the radio, you know, way back in the time, you know, when old boy used to come on there with that, let me clear my throat, that shit right there. Like that was the era, you know, of music between the 90s and the 80s where that transition changed shit and that top bill started looking real different. You know what I'm saying? From Mike Jack and everybody else. So R&B, New Edition, New Edition of goddamn tyrants. All of them have won Grammys individually and they've won them together.
That part.
Let's just start right there. All of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame of every which way. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's Toni Braxton. Unforgettable voice that you'll never fucking forget once you hear it. And for some of you young cats and young Thundercats that ain't never heard Toni Braxton or really sat down and heard New Edition, go listen. But listen with an open mind, the way y'all asked us to listen with an open mind to the new generation of style of music now.
Big facts.
I ask you to listen with the same type of open mind. I ask you to come at it both ways. Open your mind and receive what we're seeing and what we heard and what we grew up with in that nostalgic kind of time and era. And then move forward and see that evolution and see how it changed into this. And then we're going to get to this point that we're about to make. Top Billboard charts, top of those Billboard charts have never not seen R&B. But when you come to hip hop, you go to that side, boy, we've been in a shortage. BTP, how long has it been since hip hop has been in the top 10?
I know that hip hop for a very long time was a part of the top 10 Billboard charts. And then that started dropping out the last like maybe 2 or 3 years or so. And that started really dropping out, I guess, after like 2020. And things started getting kind of in and out with it. And then just recently, they just talked about for the first time in 35 years, hip hop is not in the top 40. So we're not even talking about the top 10 no more. They're not in the top 40 with regards to what's out there right now. You know, and when we talk about R&B has always been in the billboards, you know, and I'm not super big on like the charts and things of that nature, but when you see consistencies do show certain things, especially at industry levels, because these are all different markets within similar marketplaces by entities that have been around longer than some of us have been alive. And, you know, and it's just kind of one of them things where what's the difference now? And we're seeing these drops in numbers, you know, which is interesting because I hear on the radio so much now with these hip hop channels, you know, shout out 98.5, the beat out here in San Antonio, Texas, you know, holding things down in the countdown city, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's so much more of a fusion now between hip hop and country. And I wonder how much of a it goes into for some of this music with regards to like its licensing and how it identifies, because what if they're not truly identifying for what might be captured in hip hop? Technically, maybe they're getting more into the country charts, you know, and starting to have a bit of that crossover, because I've heard that crossover. I'm not sure what that looks like. I know Big X the Plug got a song that's with some country folks right now that have been getting some attention. So it's like, in the top 40 of Billboard in general, hip hop's not in it. I wonder how much of those are considered like fusion or country songs that got a hip hop feature on it, right? Like maybe the beat switch up and it becomes like a hip hop beat just for that verse, and then it cuts back to what it was beforehand. Like, you know, what does that look like? But I think it says a lot when hip hop itself isn't within that top 40. And then what do you think about all that, Big Y? When you see this and kind of where we're at with all this?
Well, like you said, I'm not even a big firm believer in the Billboard charts myself. I feel like it's some things that probably should be in the top 40 that probably hasn't made it. And it's probably just on the logistics or the reason why you make it into the top 40 or top 10, or i.e. the best. Maybe, but we can use it as a gauge, like a data-driven gauge that gives you an understanding of where hip-hop has been and where it came from and where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 3 stages of it, you know what I'm saying? The past, present, and the future. Understanding that, if you look at it, how it progressed and how fast it hit the top 100, how fast it hit the fucking charts to where it was number 1s and number 1s and number 5s and number 8s and number 10s and number, you know what I mean? We're handing out platinum plaques and diamond records like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy work.
Right.
First off, we stopped selling physical, actual albums. And we started going into streams. That changes what affects and what works and what doesn't. That affects how you get chosen for the Billboard charts now. Now you're changing the course of what makes good music good music. I think it comes down to truly hip hop as we know hip hop took a state took a turn where it's in a state of decline. We're losing substance. We're losing that feeling. We're losing that raw, authentic, revolutionary voice. The grit and grime of it, the not so glamorous part of it, the stories, the relatableness, being relatable, like that. It's not even relatableness. Being relatable and having these moments where you can just like really like, oh, I feel that, I see that, I hear that, I can damn near taste that, I can almost grab it because it feels that real to you. We lost that luster in hip hop, man. We're damn near get confused about what's meant to dance to and what's meant to just listen to and absorb. What's meant, and like, what does that mean to hip hop? Like now we're getting so dissecting. We're to the point where, oh, because of crossover between hip hop and country, what the hell you think country is?
Mm-hmm. And what modern countries even sounds like without any hip hop on it. Like when it comes to the bass, just the way it's produced, it's got a lot to it. Yeah.
It's hip hop. It's hitting on the same keys, the same tones, it's hitting on the same delivery, the same cadence. It's hip hop. And then if you look at country, and then you can say hip hop is country. You could go back and say that country comes from the blues. But what does hip hop derive from? The blues. Just so they marry each other very well. It comes together like it's supposed to. If you understand it like a science as it is, it comes together well because it's supposed to be together, because it comes from the same identity. It comes from the same DNA makeup. You understand what I'm saying? So when you understand that the blues came before hip hop and it came before country, quote unquote, they came before rock and roll. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have none of those categories or quote unquote, big air quotes, genres. There would be no genres without jazz, the blues, classical music, indigenous music, beats, drums, pick-cats, everything, hi-hats. All these things come from one DNA makeup or another. But you have to understand that you don't get to that without that.
Right.
The blues is what brought it about. So when you got top 100, and the reason why we fell out is because we lost the consistency of the DNA makeup. Somewhere along the way, we fell off. And we never got back on. And every time we try, we find some kind of way to knock that shit down. Don't nobody want to hear that shit, Cherie.
Yep. It's,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
nobody want to hear that
Nah,
shit.
yeah, it's honest. You know, it's one of them things where it's like, you know, you talk about the relatableness, right? Mm-hmm. And there's folks that are truly talented, you know, and to be able to do any of these things, you know, usually there's got to be some degree of talent going on there, you know, at any level of it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, in order to get to this point, I have to portray various lyrics or a type of sound in order to get to this point, regardless of my background experiences, where I live, culturally, my upbringing. I have to fit what I'm trying to produce into this space that might not even be representative of really something authentically that you've been through, you know, and it's that standardization of the music, you know, and we think about what that looks like, and you'll sometimes hear regional differences, but so much of the flow, what's being talked about, like, you know, it's a lot of it sometimes just that one way, you know, and you don't get too many party songs like that. That's not like super crazy, or just one of them I'm riding in my slab songs like that, you know, just chilling, you know, or something just a little bit different than just, you know, like kind of the violent of it, you know, and the violence always there because that's just kind of what it is. But it's like there's other ways of looking at the same picture.
Facts,
you know?
Facts. And in fact, I mean, we can cut the pie in 1,001 directions. It's still going to have the same ingredients. It's still going to be the same pie. Mm-hmm. But when you start fucking with the ingredients, it's when you change the pie.
Right.
Sometimes you try to fix something that's not broke. You're just trying to evolve or elevate, but you lose the essence of what it is. You can't lose the essence of what it is. And we lost the essence of what it is. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, since you brought that really great point. Now, does it take talent to even become a successful rapper or hip hop artist?
I really feel nowadays it's, the talents, as I said, in order to do these things, there's got to be some degree of talent wherewithal there with regards to just music or whatever the case may be. But I would definitely say what separates folks nowadays, now that we all have platforms, now that there's various ways of getting your message and who you are across, they really focus in on, folks that, are really trying to prove like, yes, I'm about that life, or they bring up in interviews
Straight up. I'm asking you a straight shot question. Does it take talent to be successful in hip hop now? Like it
I would
used
say
to?
no, because it's more of an image. It's more of an image, and that's kind of why I'm getting at, because there's thousands of talented
100%.
individuals, but when folks get on these interviews, they get asked questions and trying to bring out the worst of folks and trying to create this image of like, this is like fucking Billy the Kid and doing all this crazy shit, and it's like we missing the essence of the artist. You know what I'm saying? Because in hip hop, it's always been representative, of like the underclass experiences, and it just is what it is, and it's nice to get to know the musician, their creativity, how they build, their future goals, and getting them to think about things other than just putting in work. Because I think that's why things are falling off in these billboards, because people are just getting tired of that narrative at this point. Like the general public listener, maybe not everybody, but those that do the charts, those that run those type of metrics and just kind of generalness, I mean, they're not really buying it. I mean, even the biggest ones, what was it? The Drake and Kendrick stuff. Like when you really listen to those records, those beefs, they're not even talking about anything that all the other rappers are talking about. They were like direct beefs, and then they made it kind of poppy and kind of catchy here and there. But they weren't really rapping in a way or talking content that everyone else is kind of on. You know what I'm saying? Like the flow or anything. They were doing their own thing. So
Right.
so yeah, and those were like the last two biggest ones, and R&B, they standing strong. We got Chris Brown in the top, Leon Thomas in the top, you got different folks, what was it, Kehlani, doing a thing at the top, and so many others to mention. And it's like we see in R&B that message and narrative stays strong. Love, the hurt of love, going through that type of struggle, expressing yourself emotionally and being vulnerable like that, and then having
all
fun.
Of these things BTP. All of these things, and having fun and enjoying the moment and having a blast and being in places, environments that bring peace, love, and happiness. Like all of these things that and joy and pain. All of that comes with R&B, but all of that comes with hip hop. But does it come with hip hop anymore?
That's what I'll tell you, man, the one song, I'm getting old, bro, because you know how they say things just start getting different. The one song
he's
when
no bro, and he's,
what I'm saying? I'm getting old, bro. The one song that I've been listening to all the damn time on my way to work and riding to is from an Ice Cube album way back when, called Until We Rich, with him and Crazy Bone. And I listened to that song.
He's getting old. Hold up. You getting old, and that song is from like my era, and you feel old? No, get out of here, dude.
Get out of here. No, I'm telling you.
That's good. You got a knowledge of it. You know what I'm saying? With him, it would always since it's Ice Cube, we're talking about Cube. For me, today was a good day. Like that's a song. It's always relatable. It's a feel-good track. But in all reality, do y'all understand that my mans was talking about an everyday life that was not an easy one to live, but he found a joy in that everyday struggle.
That part.
And that one day was a good motherfucking day. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty fucking impressive. It was a really good track.
It's
it's still
honest, bro. And it's the content and it's what he's
so,
talking about. And it's just like,
and
it's just
how he talked about it,
how
how
he
he
talks about it.
how he's rapping to you, but it feels like he's having a conversation with you. And it took that track to a whole nother level. Now, how many tracks do we hear today that get dropped today that hasn't made the top 40 Billboard hip hop charts? Do we talk about like that?
For me, man, I don't hear nothing. I mean, a lot of it nowadays is just club shit, and I get it. That sells, you know what I'm saying? But
Cool,
when
that's
we
great.
talking
But
about,
do we talk about that song like that? He got club music too that sold. He got
yeah,
club
you
music
do.
that was out. He got plenty of club tracks. He got
Hmm.
all the mainstream shit, but he's also dropped gems. That's all we're asking y'all to do is drop some real music somewhere in between the bullshit. If you
So
gotta do the
seriously,
bullshit just to make the bread, cool. Do your thing. I'm not gonna knock your hustle. I'm not knocking nobody hustle ever. But drop those gems, like, cause Hustle dropped gems, Pac dropped gems, Biggie dropped gems. Biggie dropped
Yeah.
gems in the mix of a club track that you really thought it was just talking about nothing but straight up pimps, hoes, and thugs. But nah, he was really talking on some real life
on
shit.
some grown man shit, and that's the thing
You just
about it.
didn't
I
listen.
need something. I'm
Like,
I'm hitting my 30s. I need to relate to something. I
I
can't
need
relate to y'all
something, bro.
motherfuckers riding
Yeah.
around hitting switches, motherfucker. Like, no, motherfucker, I ain't. No.
No, 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 no,
What the
no,
fuck
no.
are y'all doing? Like, come on, man. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, it's just there's so much. It's just, oh god, that's a whole other
I,
conversation. But
I
it's just
just that's all I'm saying. That's why we're not in the top 40. Because these songs are not really. That's another thing. Like, we have plenty of artists who are dropping music that should be in the top 40, but
Yeah.
they're not getting the spins, they're not getting the streams, they're not getting the views.
Mhm.
That we'll get into the names of that on our next segment. But on this, I want y'all to understand, come into the conclusion of the understanding of what we give our attention and love to. Is it really even like feeding our souls? Is it really even feeding you anything? Is it giving you anything except for a momentary feel good?
Yeah.
Because I got tracks that don't just give me momentary feel goods. It's giving me life lessons. It's giving me life journeys. Like they've walked with me through this shit. And I appreciate all of these artists for doing that much work, that amount of you that you gave to us, whether it i.e. be true, a story you heard, but the way you depicted it, the way you laid it out, the way you made me get into that moment, it's carried with me for the rest of my life.
That's honest. I think the big thing is, as a hip hop artist nowadays, the ability to be emotionally open in your music and to be vulnerable. That's what's missing. Because everybody wants to be hard. Everybody want to be a killer. Everybody want to be fucking Tony Montana and shit. And it's just like, like
weird,
those are few and far between. And if that really is who you is, then bless your soul, you done been through some shit. But but it's like it's just
really not like that in real life, bro.
No,
it's not a bunch of jokers and Harley Quinns running around out here in the world. It's really not. Let's stop pretending that we got a whole bunch of Frank Lucases and fucking goddamn Bonnie and Clyde's and shit and fucking like we ain't got a lot of them out here, man. Like let's stop trying to be that. Let's just be you. Nobody wants to just be themselves anymore, man.
Real shit, man. It's easy to crash out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's harder to be you nowadays. It's easier to crash out than to be yourself.
It's easier to just follow the masses. And right now, what are we doing? So let's find a way to crack these charts, because all of that is the reason why we haven't cracked the top 40 in the past couple of years, and we haven't been top 10 in God knows how long. So, and even when we are, we got a question about what the fuck we're putting up there. Like, hip hop is just not taking a turn for the worse. It's like, and it's not just dying. it's evolving into something that's not even hip hop anymore.
Yes. A lot of
You know what I'm
fusion,
saying?
a lot of different things, a lot of folks
Evolving
crossing
into
genres.
right.
You know,
It's evolving, and which is fine, and all of that is fine, but still don't lose the essence of what it is.
like a real MC and shit. Like when I first saw
I mean,
what
first
was
off,
it?
go back to you said MC, and it just gave me an epiphany. I'm sorry, bro. Run DMC
Hmm.
when they fused rock and roll and hip hop.
Right, and this decades ago. When they first did that shit. Yeah, what was it? The Run This Way remix. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like Walk This
exactly.
Way remix. Like
Yeah.
it was everywhere. You know what
Them
I'm
and
saying?
Aerosmith. So you got them doing that and that transition, that fusion.
Mhm.
They still kept the essence of hip hop
Yes.
and fused it with the essence of rock and roll.
And culturally, then I remember like one of
This was
the musicians, he said at this time, I forgot who it was, but he was like, he was going through a hard time in his life. He was like battling addiction and all this and stuff. And he was like really into some deep shit. And he was like, but when we got into the studio, we always made sure the music we wrote and what we produced was about uplifting our people and about, being able to do something, because we understood if we rapped about what we were really going through, it would really impact folks and influence folks in a way that's gonna, not be all that great, in understanding the power of your words and to understand the power of your influence. Because you might just think, oh, I'm gonna make a check, I'm gonna do my thing, but it's like you really might have an effect out there on somebody, and they really might try to live a life that you just kind of created just to make some bread, and you got people crashing out living up to something that ain't even real.
big fact. We gotta be able to. First, I'll take some responsibility for the actual influence and responsibility that you have to your listeners, to give them something to go forward with. Now, again, that's your life, and you rapping about it, and you're putting it out there, but also give the consequences and the non-glorified part of what your life is. The hard nights of sleeping because you see faces.
Exactly.
The long nights and early mornings because you're so paranoid that you don't know who to trust or what to trust. You don't even trust your own eyelids to go to sleep.
Yep. And the regret of everything. And it's like, and
if you don't have regret, you don't have remorse, then you got to deal with the cold-heartedness of being cold-hearted.
You just a
That's a
sociopath.
lonely life.
And
so all of that comes with this type of lifestyle. You got to rap about. You got to put that on your track, because breathe that truth. Because if you're gonna come out here and glorify it, you might as well tell them what come with it.
They said that I saw this shit on TikTok, and it just really like brought this in for me. And Zero, Let the Truth Be Told, when that album came out, before that happened, he was homeless for the most part, really struggling. He was down bad, and Rap-A-Lot came and picked him up and got him in the studio, and he wrote, and produced that whole album in 7 days. And that came out and was like one of the biggest classics out of Texas, and it's just like, and he said himself in interviews, the reason that's one of his best albums was because he really wrote what he was going through. He really wrote the pain he was feeling. Like, you can feel it when, that's what Ro was saying.
Every track.
Like,
and that album, you can let it play from one and just let it play. Like, I bullshit you not. It's one of those. And there ain't many of those out here. It's not. I haven't heard one of those in like freaking easily 20 years. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
and when was Ro out putting out music like that, right? So it's like that just again shows the generational difference.
Let the Truth Be Told was, bro, legendary. Man, God, what a time to be alive, man. I got this front row seat, dog. Like, it was so crazy. What a time to be alive, brother. I love it. We got to get back into it. We got to come back to this. We're going to come back. We're going to revisit this topic because it's going to continue to be one until we can do something about it. So, Big Facts, we in the building. BTP, the realest. Big Mike, too big. G. Man, we on that, man. Let's give hip hop back to the top 10.
Big Facts.